Here are your Court News Ohio top stories in 5 minutes. A man on death row appealed his convictions and death sentence for stabbing his girlfriend in 2013 and a few weeks later, killing her parents. Among his 23 legal arguments, Sean Ford maintained that he did not waive his rights before police questioned him for the murders of Jeffrey and Margaret Schobert, who were both killed with a sledgehammer inside their Akron area home. Ford claims that his below-average IQ score and intellectual limitations bar the state from executing him. After being Mirandized, the state argues Ford never invoked his right to remain silent and did not ask for an attorney. The prosecutor and trial court determined he was competent to stand trial. At 215 years old, the Ohio Supreme Court is full of history. And even after more than 2 centuries of existence, the state's high court is still producing historical moments. The most recent milestone wasn't a decision, but an addition.
We have Justice Stewart. Welcome.
In November, 8th District Court of Appeals Judge Melody Stewart became the first African-American woman elected to the state Supreme Court.
I certainly recognize and appreciate the historic aspect of my being elected to this seat.
Justice Stewart's path to the top of Ohio's judiciary was unique in other respects. Prior to her legal career, she spent several years in school not only taking notes, but following them as well, culminating in a music degree from the University of Cincinnati.
The law permeates all aspects of our lives, and so it shouldn't be a surprise that you can major in computer science or music or nursing and then to law school.
While her love of music influenced her approach to life, Justice Stewart's receptiveness to others helped guide her along the way. And it all started with an administrator's suggestion in high school.
She came to me and said, I think you should run for student council vice president. Instead of running for student council vice president, I ran for president, and I won.
Only weeks into her tenure, she's undaunted by the added responsibilities of the position.
Then she'd have a right to appeal.
Yes, Your Honor.
As she approaches each case with the intrigue of a lifelong student.
Paints a picture in the mind of someone who came from the background that I came from or who looks like me, that, you know, this is what our justice system should look like. This is a job that I can aspire to have one day, then that's a great thing.
On a weekly basis, one specific room inside Franklin County Municipal Court is in session. The people gathered here aren't seated for hearings or rulings. They're largely there just to talk.
It's hard, it's a struggle.
Some of it is making improvements for the future.
I need to start working on steps to make me better.
A lot of it is about what haunts them from the past.
I cried for like 2 days, you know, I got real bad PTSD, real bad.
These women are participants of Catch Court, changing actions that change habits. It's one of 4 human trafficking specialized dockets certified by the Ohio Supreme Court. Judge Paul Herbert started the program 10 years ago when he sensed something wasn't right in his courtroom.
The women were coming through arraignment court all beat up, and I looked down at the file and said prostitute when they looked more like a domestic violence victim.
After years of trauma and exploitation, those who arrive in the state's first human trafficking court come with a criminal record and little control, be it of their lifestyle or addiction.
Being new in recovery and pregnant and having a child, it was very difficult to juggle.
So Judge Herbert and his staff established a 2-year probationary program.
Not just staying free from drugs or alcohol, but it's also having freedom of your own body.
To assess and address each person's core issues.
Instead of the old way of going, what's wrong with you? I'm really looking at them now trying to go, I wonder what happened to you.
The setup is intensive supervision, trauma-based counseling.
It takes me a little bit longer to wind myself down.
And drug and alcohol treatment.
I have a year and 18 days.
As you see them over time start to trust the process and trust the staff and eventually trust me, I don't think there's been anything more rewarding in my whole career.
The survivors are also proving the system works. The national average of recidivism or reoffending in these kinds of cases is 80%. Catch Court is at 29%.
I really thought that my record would hold me back from ever being able to have a stable job, be stable out in the community, but I see other women doing it, and that gives me the motivation that I can do it.
And that's a look at Court News Ohio's top stories. Visit courtnewsohio.gov for the latest headlines on Ohio's courts. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter.